Shalom, and welcome to A Taste of Torah. I'm Rabbi Gavi Ruit, and this week we begin the book of Exodus with Parashat Sh'mot. As the book of Exodus opens, 400 years have passed since the death of Jacob, whose descendants have become downtrodden and in disarray. Jacob's children had done quite well in Egypt because of the power that their brother Joseph held there. But after Joseph's death, a new king rose up in Egypt who did not remember Joseph, and Jacob's descendants were relegated to being slaves. One of the primary themes in Exodus is how a ragtag group of slaves were transformed into a people who would become a nation. But that transformation would not have been possible without the guidance and leadership of Moses, whose role in Exodus is second only to divinity itself. It's difficult to overstate the place that Moses holds in our tradition. He is revered as the unsurpassed leader of the Jewish people. But what exactly makes him so special? There are many things we could point to: his humility, his intense care for the people he leads, his willingness to confront God when he feels God is being overly harsh. But what has always struck me about Moses is his sensitivity to the world around him. We see that sensitivity clearly in this parsha when Moses encounters a burning bush. Moses is out tending his flock when he passes by a bush that is aflame. Many of us would probably just hurry past something so mundane, but not Moses. He looks at the bush and he sees that it might be aflame, but it is not being consumed. At this point, he says to himself, I must turn aside and look at this marvelous sight. Why doesn't the bush burn up? Moses' ability to look and see marvels in what many of us would discount as mundane is striking. And it is in this moment, when Moses' attention is consumed by the flaming bush, that God chooses to reveal God's self to him. For Rabbi Yosef of Yampole, an early 19th century Hasidic leader, this moment in Torah represents the model for spiritual connection that we all can follow. After God calls out to Moses, God tells him to remove his sandals, for the place on which you stand is holy ground. Rabbi Yosef tells us that when Moses is told to take off his sandals, he is actually being told to set aside the foolishness of your usual habits, to shake up your thinking, and to stop looking at the world as mundane, but instead as full of wonder. And it is only when you have set aside your usual way of seeing the world that you can see that the place where you are standing is holy ground. Rabbi Yosef teaches that every place that we inhabit, the exact place where we stand, is holy, if only we have the will to see it. We live in a bifurcated society. Many of us divide our lives into buckets. We have the spiritual bucket and we have the life bucket. And we limit our spiritual engagement to certain places and times. But Rabbi Yosef teaches us that every place and every moment has the potential for spiritual connection. We need only put aside our usual way of looking at the world and instead follow Moses' example and look for the marvels within the mundane. Shabbat Shalom.